When it comes to your retirement, do you want to have the same old plan everyone else has? Of course not. You're unique and have your own goals and dreams. Don't be treated just like a number. This is your retirement. So it's time to think differently. And you're in luck because you've found the Retire Your Way podcast with ILG Financial. At ILG Financial, you won't find generic, run-of-the-mill plans containing the same old cookie-cutter solutions. Dave Chase and the ILG Financial team focus on building one retirement at a time using their Think Differently philosophy. And that means your own comprehensive plan with customized solutions built to achieve just one goal, yours. So put on your Think Differently hats and get ready to take back control of your retirement today and for all the tomorrows to come. ILG Financial's Retire Your Way podcast was created just for you, and it's starting right now.
When it comes to retirement, do you want to have the same old plan everyone else has? Of course not. You're unique. You have your own goals and dreams. Don't be treated just like a number. This is your retirement, so it's time to think differently. And you're in luck because you found Retire Your Way podcast with ILG Financial. At ILG Financial, you're not going to find generic run-of-the-mill plans containing the same old cookie-cutter solutions. Dave Lopez, Chase Lopez, and the ILG Financial team focus on building one retirement at a time using their Think Differently philosophy. And that means your own comprehensive plan with customized solutions built to achieve that one goal, your goal. So put on your Think Differently hat and get ready to take back control of your retirement today and for all the tomorrows to come. ILG Financial's Retire Your Way podcast was created just for you, and it's starting right now. I'm Ron Stutz. Of course, time for Dave Lopez to be here, and today there's a special conversation coming with Leslie Lipscomb, today's special guest on the podcast. Right now, I'll just turn it over to Dave Lopez to introduce our guest today and to tell you what this show is going to be all about.
Well, thank you, Ron. It is great to be here again. I love doing these podcasts, and I will tell you, I'm particularly excited for today's podcast because we have what I consider a super special guest, Leslie Lipscomb with Financial Independence Group. Leslie and I have been working together, Leslie, over 16 years now?
Yes, 16 years. Time flies when we're having fun and helping families.
It does. It's wonderful to say we've been friends that long, but it makes me feel incredibly old, right? Because it feels like a moment ago that we had our first conversation about talking about what we could do together if we partnered to try to help people in the world of finance. And then you blink and my children are all grown up and your children are growing up, and where did the time go? Right?
It goes by too fast. That's for sure, Dave.
It does. But I will tell you, when I said I'm excited to have you on the call, I mean that genuinely. And I mean that because you have been such a asset and a benefit to our clients over the last 16 to 17 years with what you bring to the table and how you're able to make sure that they get the very best possible advice and we don't miss anything along the way when building the plan. And I wanted to take a chance to thank you personally and the entire Financial Independence team for all you've done for our clients over the last several years. So I wanted to get that out there, Leslie, so you don't have to respond to that, but we sure appreciate you. But today is about letting everybody know exactly how Financial Independence Group fits as a partner with ILG Financial. And so people get a feel for what goes on behind the scenes. So if someone's listening to this and they're looking for a financial advisor, they need to know what to look for. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So let's start with that. We're talking about you, your background, the folks you serve, and then I'd like you to talk a little bit about your firm, Financial Independence Group, and what exactly they do with respect to clients and with respect to independent investment advisors like ILG Financial.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I just want to acknowledge the selection process for working with an advisor. It can be very difficult for families. And there's a statistic I read recently that 80% of widowed spouses leave their financial advisor upon the passing of their spouse. And so what does that tell us? That tells us that oftentimes people are uncomfortable with their financial advisor. And here at Financial Independence Group, we're really on a mission to help advisors like you, Dave, connect better with their clients. And what does that mean exactly? So the industry that we are in, insurance, investments, financial solutions, we have to listen to the clients. So here at FIG, we've been in business for over 50 years. We started in 1976, very humble beginnings, focused on health insurance. It was really kind of our main focus when we started here at FIG. And over time, really in the early 90s, the company and the industry evolved to have a focus on this product called the fixed indexed annuity. It made a huge debut in the insurance marketplace with the ability to provide asset protection to families. So having the ability to track the market but not be subjected to the volatility that comes along with being truly invested in the market. So over time, our product selection evolved here at FIG. Again, we started with really focusing on the fixed indexed annuity. We brought in life insurance, and life insurance comes in all different shapes and sizes. It's no longer just a death benefit. I think that's something really important to understand. And then also long-term care. So the asset-based long-term care product made a splash in the early 2000s, and that has really kind of carried us through today in the long-term care marketplace. So our bread and butter here at FIG, what we focus on are annuities, life insurance, and asset-based long-term care. And we offer over 75 different insurance companies, 75. So we like to say, right tool, right client. We've got lots of tools in our war chest here at FIG to help bring sound solutions to families all across the country, whether it's providing that long-term care or leaving a legacy or providing income or retirement, or maybe it's just asset protection in general. But we partnered with, over the years, over 7,000 advisors and served hundreds of thousands of families all across the country. Again, helping fulfill the dreams of these families when it comes to supporting their retirement or supporting their families as they age. We are independently owned and operated, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. We have 5 owners. Part of that number is due to succession planning. We have 2 core founders, and then we have 3 succession plan individuals that are affiliated with our organization as well, so to bring us to 5 total owners. But that's a little bit about FIG. I have a team here. There's 14 of us, and we are specialists when it comes to the products that I mentioned, Dave, the annuities, the life insurance, and the long-term care. We have an average tenure of about 17 years here at FIG. I myself have been here for 20 years. I've got people on my team that have been here for 27, one that's been here for 10, one that's been here for 24. We come and we stay because this organization, we have the chance truly to make a difference in the lives of families all across the country, and that is really rewarding work. And definitely something worth sticking around for. It's a little bit about FIG and just what a fabulous organization it is. I think that's something I'd like to throw in there as well, too.
Yeah, and I appreciate you mentioning that because you hit on a couple things, Leslie, that I think we're going to dig into a little. This idea that, first of all, Financial Independence Group is not some new company that's just showed up.
We are not.
Owned by some conglomerate. This independence is huge because since they're a private company, very closely owned by the founding owners of the company, and now the succession owners who are active leadership of the company.
Yes.
That gives them a unique independence when deciding how to best serve customers because they're not having to answer to stockholders or some corporate conglomerate that has bought them up and is telling them to go in a direction that's more profitable for the corporation, but necessarily not in the best interest of the people they serve. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. We don't serve a master. Our master is your clients. We want to do what's right for them. We don't have sales quotas that we have to hit with insurance companies. And whenever you have an IMO that's owned by an insurance company, or you have anything that's owned by an insurance company, what do you think those people are going to talk about? They're probably going to talk about the products from the people that own them. And that's just not the case here at FIG. We've really kind of dug our heels into being able to have an unbiased opinion about everything, because at the end of the day, that's in the best interest of the advisor and, most importantly, their clients.
That's something that really goes unsaid too often where folks are looking at advisors. So they'll talk to some advisor that works for some big firm, and they don't realize that because they're what's called a captive agent, they're really limited to only talking about those particular products. And the edict behind the curtain is make it work.
That's right.
Even if there's a better product with a different company, because they don't have the ability to write with that company. So you really want to be able to have, if you're talking to a financial advisor, you want someone who is independent so that they don't have a dog in the fight.
That's right.
And one of the things that drew me to Financial Independence Group was that you guys had that independence, because I wanted to make sure I had it when we started building our client base. And over 16 years, we've had this huge benefit of when we sit down in front of a client, to your point earlier, we've got over 75 of the biggest companies, insurance companies in the nation, which translates to hundreds and hundreds of different products. So when a client talks one-to-one with us about what they're looking for, I'm not trying to convince them to buy the one product that my boss has told me to sell that week, right? We've got these hundreds of products to choose from through Financial Independence Group.
That's right. That's right.
Now, that brings a problem, I will tell you, for an advisor. And this is why I would say for someone looking for an advisor, this is the other thing you would look for. Just play that out. If you've got all of that going on behind the scene, hundreds of products, they're changing monthly. Rates are changing, options are changing, new products are coming out, and your advisor is meeting with people all day, 5 days a week. When in the world is the advisor going to have time to keep up on all of those hundreds of products to make sure?
Not possible.
It's not possible, right?
It's not possible.
That's where and I want you to talk just a little bit about how that comes in to be a benefit to help advisors who are able to use a firm like you.
Absolutely. So it's our job here at FIG to keep a pulse on the market. So what is happening in the market, and also what is happening in the world of insurance products and solutions. So our job is day in and day out to understand the products that we have access to. Now, again, I mentioned 75 different insurance companies. So yes, it is our job to analyze and understand those products bravely. So when we are speaking to independent financial advisors like yourself, Dave, and you call and talk with us about a specific scenario that we need to bring a solution to, or an opportunity, as I like to call it, that we need to find a solution for, it's our job to understand that product landscape and then to educate you on that offering and why it is the very best tool available for that individual. So education is a huge part of our days here at FIG. Again, understanding new products that hit the market, understanding what's happening in the market, and understanding the nuances of the products that we have access to, why they are beneficial to people based on the specific needs that they have. And it might sound absolutely crazy to think that we can keep a pulse on products from 75 different insurance companies, and that's where I go back to the product specialist. So again, we have product specialists for each line of business because it would be impossible to keep a pulse on 3 different lines of business with all 75 different insurance companies. So our specialists are really just very laser focused on understanding what's in their lane, and that is their specific line of business, so that they can then convey that information to people like you, Dave. Because again, you can't keep a pulse on the market. You can't understand all of the products. You've got families to, take care of. And so that's our job, and helping you become that subject matter expert for the specific scenario that you're working on is what we really devote our time to each and every day with the independent advisor.
Yeah, and that's what makes it such a perfect fit. And the reason I appreciate you talking about this, Leslie, is it gives my clients a little peek behind the curtain, so that when and even folks that are listening to the podcast who aren't clients and they're looking for a financial advisor, it gives them an idea of what to look for, this idea that it's really not realistic that someone can be working on their own and have the same amount of expertise and information to get the best product for their client if they don't have a back support team like Financial Independence Group. And even if you did, we've got to be careful with who it is. Like to your point, if it's an organization like yours that's owned by an insurance company, well, they're just pushing really their products. Right? Or if it's owned by some huge conglomerate, they're saying, hey, look, push just these products because they're maximizing the bottom line for our shareholders.
That's right.
Whereas an independent firm like Financial Independence Group, what drew me to them is I wanted a firm supporting me that operated just like we did, which is we answer to no one.
Yes.
Right? So we really can look at the client, and we've seen that, you and I, haven't we, over the years? as someone I had a client the other day that said, well, what's your main company? And I said, frankly, I don't have one, right? Literally every year as the rates change and the options change, it's really is what's the most attractive product for this particular client in this particular instant this year, right? And it switches. They all ebb and flow, don't they? There's companies that have their day in the sun and then they'll pull back. And because we're independent, we've got 674 other options. So that's attractive.
I think whenever an advisor can make recommendations for what is most appropriate for the client, the likelihood of them achieving their financial objectives is significantly higher. So when you're independent, not being bound by sales quotas, proprietary products, or corporate agendas, and I love to say that, corporate agendas, because that's what you're going to get when you go to the big box insurance companies or the big box financial institutions that are going to pigeonhole you into the products that are just going to pad their bottom line.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. So when we put our positioning here, we're able to tap into all of your specialists. And that's the other thing I will tell you between the two of us that has cemented our relationship is this idea that even with you doing what you do, the idea that you could keep up with all of those companies and all of those products over the 3 lines isn't feasible, even with you not meeting with clients. But a 14-person team, all specialists, it's impressive that this team's background is 10 to 27 years doing the same thing. That's an amount of expertise you hardly get in any field. But on the long-term care side, we've got really one of the nation's premier experts in Alicia Barnett in long-term care with her accolades, and she speaks nationally. We've got certified life underwriters on the life insurance side, experts in those fields to help when we talk about the different life insurance products that may or may not fit a client. And then your team with, like you said, you're talking almost between you and Brian as the primary focus specialists on the annuity side, between you, close to 30 years plus?
Between the two of us, well, and if I were to add Alicia, that's like 80 years of experience, which is pretty crazy to say out loud.
That is correct. And just in this field with these companies working with these products. So,
yes,
I'm not ashamed to brag when I talk to my clients. And I said, listen, there's really no one in the nation with more experience and the right focus being we don't care about the company, we care about the client, than the team that I've got to work. Now, here's why this is important, Leslie. Let's talk about this a little bit. So what does that mean to my customer, right? Or someone coming to an independent financial advisor who's a fiduciary like ILG Financial, Chase and I. Well, what that means is that we also have the training in all of these products, which of course we would need to have. But when we meet with the client, we're in a wonderful position to act. I think a good analogy, tell me what you think about this, would be like a quarterback.
Yes.
Right? So we know of all the players and what they do. We know who's good at what and what particular player would be good on what play is probably a good way to do that metaphor. So all I've got to do is just have a very candid, frank talk with the client about what they're trying to achieve, how much risk they're willing to take, how much access to their money or liquidity they need. And then I've already got a pretty good idea because we're in this knee deep all the time with these products. But just to be sure, we get with your team. This is while the client's off golfing or enjoying a nice dinner. You and I are talking, and this, folks, is how the conversation goes. Leslie, I'm working with Mr. Johnson. Here's what they need to do. Here's what the money we've got to work with. What's the best fit right now to accomplish their goals using as little of their money as possible with as many safety protections or guarantees? What am I missing? We joke about this, but how often have you heard when we talked at the end, we talk about different products and different ideas, just brainstorming together. And then I'll say to Leslie, what do I not know that you know? Because she's continually getting new information, aren't you?
Always. Yeah. So we're constantly getting updates from the insurance partners that we have as far as enhancements to products, or maybe it's even changes in legislation, whether that's taxation that could affect someone, tax brackets changing. That conversation's really kind of endless, or maybe it's estate planning in general, but taking everything into consideration, not just the product or the tool that we're going to use, but asking the right questions to really understand that individual, that family, Dave, that you're working with to achieve that solution or to achieve that goal that they have is what's most important to us. So the reality is we ask a lot of questions, and you provide a lot of information, obviously, but it's our job to ask a lot of questions so that we can then air out everything that we have to bring to the table here at FIG to make sure that we're offering the right solution. One thing I want to add that we do that's pretty cool, and I know, Dave, we've done a lot of these together, are policy reviews.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many people that have old annuity policies, whether it's a fixed index policy, a variable annuity policy, it could be any kind of annuity policy, you name it. Or maybe it's a life insurance policy, any kind of life insurance policy. It could be term, IUL, it could be a variable, you name it. They're old and you bought them and you let them sit. I see this all the time. What we do, and we've had so much success with this together, Dave, is review that policy to make sure that it still meets the goals of that individual or that family. Is it still in line with their goals? If not, let's figure out if we can reposition those assets to enhance the outcome for that family. And so we do a lot of that here at FIG, which again takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of knowledge to dig in and review those policies and then assess what is the better position for that individual to be in that is going to help fan the flame for what their optimal outcome is. So that's something I get a lot of joy out of, just because I know, we're bettering a situation. We're bettering the outcomes for the families all across the United States. We do hundreds of reviews a month on policies, and thank goodness we have a team, going back to the resources that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
And we have
Right.
a team that does a lot of those reviews for us. A lot of them come across my desk, but some of them we do kind of escalate to our review team to really dig in and do a full, just some of them are very complicated, just a full review on to help us understand exactly what we're working with. So those types of value-added benefits are, what people are going to get when they're working with an independent advisor as well, too.
Well, that's true. No one would know if you're not with a firm like ILG Financial and Financial Independence Groups to supporting them, that most advisors don't do any of that. And the reason is it takes too much time. It's much easier to put somebody in a product or an investment and just leave it and go on to the next customer unless they complain. And the customer often won't complain because they don't know there's now, because the world has changed, there's now a better option. That's no different than someone being imagine being in a 10-year bond. And you bought it 10 years ago and the interest rate was 3%. And you're like, well, I guess that's good for where we were in the world 10 years ago, right? But now the world's changed and we could move that bond, that person, without any extra risk and maybe get 5%.
That's right.
And I don't know how many times I'll have clients ask me when I'll say, listen, let's have a little talk. I've got some recommendations on some changes. And it'll be something that you and I have worked with, Leslie, on one of these policy reviews. And they'll say, well, wait a minute. I thought when we put this in, I thought you liked this company and this policy. I go, I did, and I still like it. But the world's changed, and that opens up new opportunities. And there's a new opportunity that we can get you without any additional risk, the potential for a much better return, right? Or more liquidity, or whatever we're looking for. But our job with our clients is not to put them in a product or an investment and then be done unless they complain. Our job is to continually reevaluate what's going on in the world and what's going on in their lives. And as either of those things change, we need to be able to adapt their plan and their investments to better suit the new situation.
That's right.
And that takes a lot more work than just writing someone, putting them in an initial asset allocation model, and then moving on to the next customer. And we couldn't do it, frankly, without all the hard work that you and your team do, because you do a lot of the heavy lifting, because it's just a lot of number crunching to make sure what any recommendation for a change is in the best interest of the customer. And that there's no easy way out of that. It just takes a lot of time and effort from people who know what they're doing. And we're so appreciative, Leslie, that we can lean on your 14-person team of specialists to do all that legwork and come back. And again, while the client's golfing or having dinner, we're having these conversations about their situation, of how we can better their position. So again, thanks publicly, I like to say, for all you guys do. I know you don't get the acolytes enough because we're talking to the clients and they're talking about to me or Chase. You're like, man, we appreciate you guys so much and all this work you've done. And I feel like I should call you back. And I go, man, my clients were sure appreciative of me because of all the work I did. But I'm appreciative to you, Leslie, and your team for all the work you did for us. So thank you for that, Leslie. I appreciate it.
Well, it's my pleasure. And I have to say, I have to return the compliment because Dave Lopez, the world needs more of you. The world needs more Dave and Chase Lopez's because you guys, when I look at the last 16 years, the number of families that you've been able to serve and care for and provide that unbiased opinion to is just what a blessing you all have been to so many families. So if the world had a few more Dave Lopez's, I'm positive a lot more families would be able to retire with confidence. So I'll just say that out loud to the world.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And you know, you and I feel the same way about this. We both feel like it's our blessing, right? That we're in a position where we can get up every day, do something we love, and we feel like we are making a difference in people's lives. Because a lot of people don't have that. They go to work because the money's good and they're good at what they do, but they don't feel like it's fulfilling or they don't necessarily feel like they're helping people. They're just collecting a paycheck. And to be able to get up every morning and know we're making a difference, a meaningful difference in people's lives. I feel like Lou Gehrig, or one of these old baseball players that said, heck, I'd have done this for free. You know, the fact that I could get up and do this. But one more thing I want to touch on, because this is a biggie too. Over the last 50 years, as Financial Independence Group has grown, not only have these options with the insurance options grown to over 75 companies in these 3 different very important lines of business: annuities, life insurance, and all the different machinations of those 2, and then long-term care. But about anything you could connect to finance through Financial Independence Group, we're able to help our clients with. And I don't want to take 25 minutes, but just go through with me, if you would, the list of different things that we have specialists that can help our clients with, some of them at no cost to the client.
Yes. We call it our FOS, our financial operating system, that we are able to bring to the table for advisors here at FIG. And it is a long list. I'm going to start with kind of the core products that most aging Americans need to have access to, and that's Medicare. That's a really big sticking point for a lot of people, and really a point of confusion for a lot of seniors as they age into being able to go on to Medicare. So Medicare resources here at FIG, we have a division devoted specifically to advising our advisor network on all things Medicare. Also disability. We have a disability resource here at FIG. Property and casualty is a recent addition in the last 5 years. We have a team member that joined us from, I won't say the name, a very large P&C company, and has really been able to create an impact within our advisor community of bringing P&C, property and casualty, into their firms. Again, I'm going to kind of fast track the list, but structured notes, the registered investment linked annuities through our partner Barnabas. We also do managed money through our RIA, Alpha Star Capital Management. And most recently, we acquired a firm that specializes really in the bank channel as well too, to really expand the independent suite of products into some banks that are interested in offering fixed index and also index products that we offer here at FIG. So the list is long, and I really think it'll continue to increase. Cybersecurity, that's another biggie that we are working alongside of our advisors with, because obviously this world of like deep fakes and just all of the cyber issues that we're starting to see over time, making sure that our client information is locked down. That's something that's really important to us here at FIG as well too, not just conducting business, but conducting business in a manner that is safe and secure for everyone involved in the equation.
Yep.
So
don't forget, we can help with mortgage and refinancing, right?
Yep. I was headed in that direction. Yep. So we partnered up with a company called Movement Mortgage, has a fabulous reputation in the mortgage industry doing refinances and also reverse mortgages. But again, do I see this continuing to evolve? Absolutely. And really that's because we want the individuals that we serve, that you get to serve each and every day, Dave, to be able to come to you for everything. And do you know it all? No, but you have the resources within your network through Financial Independence Group to get you the information on the specific topics that you need. So your clients don't have to have 3 and 4 advisors, in the equation when it comes to their financial planning.
I will tell you our biggest compliment, we know we're articulating how we operate correctly, Leslie, is if our clients say, listen, I talked to my buddy because he needs fill in the blank with any of the things you just listed, right? Medicare help, disability, Social Security, we help with that. Health insurance we can help with, right? Any insurances, property and casualty, which is homeowners insurance and auto insurance and all of those things, a mortgage, any of the things you listed. And someone says, hey, does Dave and the ILG team, do they do this? And my clients will say to them, they go, you know what? I know that Dave knows a guy. So our running joke in the office is, I know a guy who does that. So whenever someone comes to us, if there's anything having to do with finance, now that they're with us, we take care of them. And I don't have to say, oh, I'm a specialist in that. I say, I've got a specialist in that. Let me take your situation to them. You go out, enjoy your week. I'll get this all worked out with my specialist, and then we'll get together with a solution for you. And you guys make that possible for us. We're very proud to offer really the ability, once someone signs on with us, Leslie, that we can say, call us for anything having to do with finance. And we'll be able to just be a sounding board, and we're usually going to be able to have a resource that you can access that is unbiased, that is able to give you some unbiased advice. So thank you for that. I think we're about out of time. Is there any last things you want to say that we didn't cover?
I just want to say thank you to you again for just the time that we've had today, and also the last 16 years. And again, if this industry had a few more of you, I think the world and the financial services community would be a much better place. Your clients are truly blessed to be a part of the ILG family, and I hope they all know that. Yeah,
I appreciate it. And we appreciate you guys. We couldn't do what we are so proud to do for everybody if we didn't have you guys as the support staff. So that's Leslie Lipscomb. If anybody listening has any questions about any of the things, go back and listen to the podcast again. If there's something on there, we went through that list of everything we offer quite quickly. But don't worry about that. Just if there's anything having to do with finance that you have a question on, give the office a call. And I can tell you, and now you know, I know a guy. And I know a wonderful lady. That's probably the better way to say it. And between Leslie and I, we're going to get a solution for you with all the resources that we have through Financial Independence Group. As she mentioned, through our partnership with Alpha Star Capital Management on the money side, we've got a solution. So with that, I'm going to close out. Thanks again, Leslie. Let's do this again, maybe 6 months, because we'd love to have you on the call. And you have a great week. Tell your husband I said hi again, and we'll be back on the podcast without Leslie next month.
Well, this has been an incredibly helpful and insightful conversation today. Thanks again to our special guest, Leslie Lipscomb, for joining us on this episode. I'm Ron Stutz with Dave Lopez. Income, legacy, growth, it's all right here at ILG Financial. And it's about helping you plan for retirement your way so you can achieve your financial goals. You're one step closer now to learning what a customized retirement strategy can do for you. Call ILG Financial at 540-720-5656, or you can go online to ilgfinancial.com to learn more. This has been the ILG Retire Your Way podcast. The information provided is for educational purposes only and is not intended as investment advice for any individual or entity. All information contained herein is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. The views presented today are those of Dave Lopez and do not necessarily represent the views of the Alpha Star Capital Management, LLC. The opinions expressed are subject to change without notice and do not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. Please consult your financial professional before executing any financial strategy. Investment advisory services offered through Alpha Star Capital Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Alpha Star and ILG Financial, LLC are independent entities. SEC registration does not constitute an endorsement of the firm by the Commission, nor does it indicate that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability.
Hey, Chase Lopez here. Thanks for listening to Retire Your Way with ILG Financial, our podcast. Make sure you head to our YouTube channel as well to check out our video series, Retire Your Way with ILG Financial. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like our videos there so you can be alerted for any future videos. Talk to you soon.